live a life worth living? Or will his better nature win out? And will he go back to his love? Part 2.
Madame Marie Cheval to Monsieur Jean-Paul Mouton. My dear Jean-Paul, it has been a long time since we last spoke in person, but I have much to tell you. You see, I recently met with your daughter, who came to me under the guise of wishing to become one of our many housewives, of which we purvey. I explained to her that you must be married to be a housewife, unfortunately, but I suspect she may be coming for another reason. We met and were discussing a recent beheading.
Of freedom.
Well, I do admire that. I do. You see, Jean-Paul, of course you know, I only wish to have my freedom as well. But I live within the constraints of the propriety of marriage. Well, you know...
Not too many constraints, my dear. Of course, perhaps this is too much information, but as of late, my beautiful, devoted...
Somehow he was reading my mind.
Love, you have been quite adventurous in the bedroom.
Oh, my darling.
She has recently had me do much role play. You wished for me to act as a general named Claude. It has spiced up our marriage.
Please, Louis, please. This is far too much information to be shared.
Well, I'm just so excited by this.
You see, Jean-Paul, as we do have a past, you and I, you can understand that, yes, indeed, I did have a recent frolic with Sergeant Claude. But I am trying my hardest to stay within the constraints of my marriage. Yes, darling. It was fun, but we shall not talk of that anymore.
Yes, and if you will excuse me, I will take my leave. You wish for me to wear a black suit next time.
Yes. Darling, have you seen? Oh, there he is now. Here. He looked as if his blood had rushed from his face to his left knee. Yeah, darling, come.
I did not know this would be a setup. I trusted you.
Celeste, please let me say my piece.
I see you're wearing your shorts.
I must let you two speak in private. Jean-Paul, I did then stand very discreetly behind this chemise drawer. I pretended to leave, but I could hear them quite clearly.
Celeste, allow me to paint a picture for you.
You were never a very good artist.
I must say, Jean-Paul, that Pierre was a very good artist, although stick figures are only to be appreciated by some people.
I've drawn it out for you on paper. Look here, the definition of the sticks that I've drawn.
And there he unfolded a great roll of papyrus, of which he had made scroll after scroll.
upside down. Celeste, let me tell you. Here I am, bedridden, knee wounded, under so many medications. I was in so much pain that my nurse, she shoved everything she could down my throat so that I could feel anything but pain. And in that state, I was not of right mind.
Continue.
My nurse, here, you see, she's the one with the triangle and the 2 circles.
Okay. Yes.
I did not know this at the time, but she was sister to my sergeant.
Your sergeant.
She took a liking to me, it seemed. She had a way of falling for many of the wounded men, the way that she looked at them so forlornly.
And you knew of this?
It was not my choice who nursed me back to health.
So she nursed you back to health. This is why you stand before me?
This is why I'm not dead. She plucked from me the fragments of the bullet that had shredded my kneecap.
And from his pocket, he pulled one of those fragments.
Here, I've turned it into a necklace that I was to present to you. It seems that you would rather not. Another time. But in my medicated state, and her longing love, I made a grave error. One
I can see the error right here. In much detail, might I add.
And at that moment, she decided to describe it in great detail.
I mean, look at it just keeps going on and on. And that position, you've never done that. Me. And really?
we have not yet wed, so it would continue.
I appreciate that you are here before me because my heart admittedly does still yearn for you. And I do appreciate this woman for nursing you back to health and bringing you back to me so I could create the family that I've always wanted of my own. But this part of the story,
I am ever
Really?
so sorry. It's just the medications. It turned my cane from this to this. That point. My Celeste, we had not yet been engaged. It was a terrible, terrible mistake, and I regret it to this day.
do you see this mirror right here?
And there she pointed at the mirror that we recently purchased from a powder room.
When I look into this mirror, do you know what I see?
The most beautiful woman in the land.
Yes, I do. And this beautiful woman will be escorting herself out.
Ah, my dear, look who comes visiting at the door. The sergeant himself, now
I
please.
was just behind the chemise drawer.
My dear, there you are.
Yes, darling. Yes. What has happened to Celeste? Did she leave?
She appears to not be a fan of art.
Well,
Well,
I shall take this to my room, Sergeant.
it will work out, my son.
yes.
Take it from the general.
Yes! I'm only a sergeant, sir.
The sergeant, yes, of course. Please, have a seat here.
Ah, thank you very much.
I must say,
As we sat upon our chaise, he spread his legs.
This is how we sit in the foxhole, sir.
very good. Sir, I must say that my wife has been taking a liking to role play, and I have you to thank for that.
Oh, no.
You have inspired us to be adventurous. Something has changed in her ever since you came back. I feel a good fire between to me in my marriage. I have you to thank for it, sir.
Well, you can always look to me to set your marriage ablaze.
You saved this nation, my good sir, and you saved my marriage. If you excuse me, please, I must use the lavatories.
Before you leave,
Yes.
Louis, how dare you speak of our private things with this stranger?
Stranger?
Yes, this
This man, I owe him my life, my dear.
Yes, but how dare you talk of something so private between us with this man?
I see you are excited and worked up. Use this energy for later, my dear.
Jean-Paul, at that moment, my stomach curdled as I thought, my husband thinks of me as an object that he owns.
My dear, is that your stomach I hear curdling?
He exposed the truth of me, and that is something that I found extremely attractive. Yes, my stomach, it gurgles.
And have you been, in truth, role-playing our adventures with your husband?
You must know. We have.
Then you think of me.
Claude, look at this mirror.
Isn't that the one from the powder?
Yes, we recently purchased. How do you know it?
It's many, many long stories.
Claude, tell me what you see when you look in this mirror.
I see a man who has sinned several times, and a man who finds peace from his past whenever and wherever he can.
As he spoke to me, Jean-Paul, his hands began to quiver, and his legs began to shake as he began to, in great detail, tell me of some of his past doings. Claude, what is it? Your body is acting as if it is not your own.
It was when I was in the war. I was just a young cadet. I was sent on a mission to trespass into enemy. I could barely bring myself to say the word. Enemy lines. I was so young. I was so afraid. And I didn't go. I went AWOL instead. And then, when it came time for me to present the munitions I was supposed to steal and return to my sergeant, I told him that one of our regiment mates stole it from me. But that wasn't the case. And in order to keep that regiment mate from telling the truth, I had to murder him.
As he said this, his eyes pierced like daggers into my soul.
I am a murderer.
Oh,
I am a cad.
Monsieur Claude.
I am a fiend. I am every bad instinct the human soul might know. And yet, even I have need of comfort.
And you go about the world knowing these truths about yourself and wooing women and such as myself and pretending to be somebody that you're not.
I do. But I must tell you, my dear sweet woman,
Our hands reached and barely touched until they did.
I must tell you that of all the hands I have held, never has one sent such a thrill through my body.
Yes, we were just speaking about warfare. And how
Well,
yes.
I see indiscretion runs in the family.
Jean-Paul, at that moment, I asked Claude to leave. Claude, please leave.
Madame, I love you.
And I cannot love you. As I said, as I walked towards that mirror and looked at myself and saw somebody who was living a lie. Jean-Paul, your daughter, my son, I do believe they love each other. And yet, I do admire the bravery and courage of your daughter. Please remember that I once knew a young woman with a very small basket who came to me under the guise of wishing to be a housewife of which to be purveyed. With this basket, a small child inside, she asked for advice. I pointed her to Chateau Mayonnaise. Madame Cheval.
Monsieur Jean-Paul Mouton, to his lovely daughter, Celeste. My dear Celeste, I have sent a copy of this letter to 17 different housewife purveyors in France, with the hopes that it will reach you, for I must have you know the fate that you have left your family in. Your sister's 17 children no longer drink sherry, I must have you know. They just drink water. There I was, my dearest, at the Chateau Cemetery. Visiting your mother. Oh, my dearest Shelley.
Papa, he'll be all right. I miss her dearly too. Even when I think about all of my children, I wish she was here to guide me through the throes of motherhood.
Yes, I wish she was here too. I feel like I have failed you, and I have failed your sister. But we no longer have the estate that we once had. The Chateau Mayonnaise is not only empty of furniture and all of the riches that I once procured, it is also empty of heart. I feel I've done this. And now your sister is missing.
I do not know where she went, but I know that she is heartbroken, and a woman with a broken heart cannot be tied down.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, she told me she was convinced that she must be free, not tethered to any man, not property, not your property or her husband's, future husband's. So off she went, like a feather in the wind.
You know, I once knew a woman like that. Cello.
Mama?
Yes, your mama. And though she wasn't a blood relative of your sister, your sister took to her. Yes, they are both birds to be free in the wind. They always were, you see. But your mother loved me. I was her wind. I was her clouds. I was everything to her. And I'm afraid that your sister feels the same way about this boy Pierre. But she was betrayed. And, well, I cannot ask her to forgive him, but I just know that they belong together.
I told her that she shouldn't be with him.
You did?
Yes, Claire. Janine,
Could not help but overhear.
I thought about my child, my children, and how I could not imagine them being orphans, fatherless, cast on the street. I didn't want the same for Janine's child.
It grows every day.
As a mother, I could not imagine.
Look, I have a perfectly good basket you can put them. It's small,
No!
but it's good.
Don't you see?
Oh, I see. I see that you came into our life to destroy it. You and your nursery wiles.
It was a war.
Yes.
I saved people's lives.
She's a hero.
Oh, you save people's lives, huh? By mounting them?
If it saved one life, if this is what it created, then yes. But now, can you really see this child in a basket?
I must. And so, you see, I stormed off, tripped over several headstones.
I can't go on like this.
They continued talking while I was lying on the ground.
My brother cares nothing about me. He left me in a parlor, alone, with a dressmaker.
Your stomach has grown so much the dressmaker must be making you larger gowns.
She had to. I tried to hide this, but I kept getting larger and larger. And, Claire, I need to be with Pierre. I cannot be shunned in this way. That's what happened to my mother. That's why my brother and I have been torn apart in the way we have, and he cares nothing about this but bets.
If Pierre's a man of honor, then he will wed you and be your child's father and your husband.
Does he not remember how I saved him, how I nursed him in his delirium?
Then go to him. Remind him. My sister has fled. Now is the time. Strike while the iron is hot.
I think I can.
My friend, I know you can. Now, let's leave the cemetery. It is awfully, awfully eerie.
My dearest daughter, soon thereafter I passed out on the grass. When I came to, I sat for a while thinking. My back hurt, so I stayed there. And I thought, think of your mother. Think how she loved me. Think what her life was like. Do you think her life was a waste? Raising you, raising your sister? Please come back. Yours, Papa.
Celeste to Pierre. Pierre,
I know it's been a while since we've seen each other. Your art still is burnt into my eyeballs. I have been housekeeping for many homes as I wanted to connect to my own true mother. You see, ever since I found out of your indiscretion and my sister's betrayal, I have felt more alone than ever. So I met with Janine. I will tell you about this as we met at the masquerade. Do you recognize me?
Yes. I recognized you from a distance. I could smell you from far away.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means I know Pierre. I know how his odor, his pheromones. And you reek of it.
Funny, as you've been more intimate with him than I have, clearly.
You must think horrible things about me.
I admit I did, and in some ways I still do. But as I look at your beautiful, growing bump,
I have found out that they're triplets. I carry them down here. That's how I know.
As I look at your large family-to-be, I do admit that I find myself in them. And I do not wish for more orphans to be born.
It is a terrible life to be an orphan, isn't it?
I know.
We weren't orphans. Our mother was unwed, and it was a trying life for her. She dragged us from one place to another, pointing at orphanages when we were not behaving well, saying, "This could have been your fate." So I cannot do this to these triplets.
And I also cannot be a part of that. So I ask of you, do you love him?
I love him for the father that he is to be. And with that, I think we could make a life.
But do you love him?
Does it matter?
Does it matter? Does it matter that I loved him?
I fell in love with him, yes, on the battlefield. He was so wounded. He was bleeding. He had fragments everywhere. I pulled them out one at a time. I made a necklace of one.
Yes, I see the necklace.
I keep it close to my heart.
Oh, there's two necklaces now.
He cried in his delirium. He said your name.
He did?
He did.
And that was in cue for you to, pardon my French, back off?
No, it wasn't. Because he learned mine. And we fell in love.
So he loved you.
Yes.
So you love her, Pierre.
I want to say his stick rose.
Oh, I've heard enough of this. be loved and to have a family of my own. And I believe that I will one day. But you already have a family that is to be grown and born. And so, you can have him.
And you see, Pierre, now that I know that you love another, and you have quite the large family to support, I send you off.
With tears in my eyes. Because although we will not be together, I still and will always love you, Celeste.
Pierre to Sergeant Claude. Sergeant Claude, I do hope you are sober when you read this letter. I must tell you, the other day I had misplaced my walking stick. I searched about our ample manor, where I did find it, in my mother's boudoir, quite curiously under her bed, and sticky. I shuffled beneath the bed to fetch the stick, whereupon I heard the giggling of none other than my mother and yourself, emanating from the adjacent room. You two fell upon the bed, above me. Quiet as a mouse, I concealed myself as you two spoke.
My darling, my soul has never drunk such cool balm.
Oh, Claude, you are like manna from heaven. Your touch is like silken cloth that falls upon my body.
My dear, if you tell me your name, I will use it.
My name is Marie.
Sergeant, it was at this point, well, truly, long before this point, that I wished to bolt. Much like a doe before a carriage, I was struck, and I could not. You reached your arm down, seemingly to fetch my stick for some lascivious purpose.
Excuse me,
Louis.
Marie. No, please, do not come near me. I have a dreadful cold.
Oh dear.
It was at that point my father met eyes with you in your skivvies.
Sergeant!
Sir,
Another great honor!
there is something you must know.
Please, do not come near me. I have a dreadful cold.
It took him moments to dawn on why it was peculiar to see his wife and you derobed in her bed.
Sir, there is something you must know.
Please.
Yes. It is have you heard of a duvet?
A duvet, yes, of course.
There is no more time for lies. Sir, I am in love with that woman there.
Well, of course you are. She is a wonderful, splendid woman.
No, listen to me and understand. I love her. I have been sleeping with her. But what started as a mere romp, one more conquest in an endless line of conquests, has suddenly turned, I swear to you, Marie, has suddenly turned into something that I am unaccustomed to and is quite injurious to my reputation as a rake. I love her.
Louis,
It was at that point I saw a rage bubble in my father's face that I had not seen since I had broken a window once when I was 7. Paddled me about the bottom until I was red and plump as an apple.
Louis,
Is this what's true?
Louis, how many times have you taken abroad, I mean afar, and then a woman abroad? How many times? Yes.
Well, I see that this is some sort of revenge that you're trying to get against me.
Is that all this is, my love? Is this simple revenge?
Of course it must be.
No, it is not revenge. It is me simply trying to live my life as I wish to live it.
It was at that point my father discovered the stick.
Don't touch that.
He brandished it, and it stuck immediately to his hand, almost to never be detached.
Good God, what is that sticky substance?
I
don't know.
swear it was not me.
Good sir, this stick will find its way to your skull.
Fine then, if that is the price I must pay for love, brain me here and kill me now!
Stop.
I can't.
How many women have each of you taken?
50. If this be the moment of truth, then let it be told. Yes, many women in all the countries and nations that I have visited, I have conquered many. But
Dare you?
how dare I?
Yes.
Sergeant Claude, I must say that the bullet in my leg was no match to the trauma I was facing at this moment.
It is only honey on the handle of which I was going to make you honey tea when I cared.
This now in the midst of the turmoil with our own son and Celeste.
Indeed. And you see,
I can see the apple does not fall far from the tree. But which tree would it be?
your tree started falling apples before mine did. And mine only fell this one time. And it fell very hard and fast.
Tell me, my love, and put an end to this burning, burning doubt. Do you love me?
Claude, I love you more than I've ever loved anyone. I'm so sorry, Louis.
As am I, because truth be told, I am jealous.
Sir, perhaps you and I have learned a lesson today. Perhaps the very life I always sought to live is no life at all. What right have we to traipse around the world and treat women like so much property, like one more notch on a belt? 50, my God.
Sergeant Claude, your words struck me.
Is it not more appropriate, sir, that we and all men in all places should learn to revere women for the godlike creatures they are? No, not godlike, but human. And
Let it start.
so,
The fact, brother, that I am having and carrying quintuplets. And if you are to revere life, the father of these babies to be is your Pierre, who I
Yes.
nursed to health.
sister, listen. I have realized that I have been living a fool's life. I know not whether Pierre will love you or raise those children, but this woman here has vouchsafed to love me. Come, if no other harbor will give you safe home, come and live with us, and we shall raise your children in a loving and adoring family, if that's all right with you, my dear.
I am standing right here.
Then do the right thing.
Yes!
Do it quickly,
The
my
wrong
water
thing,
has
woman.
broken.
I wish to have all of your many children to live with Claude and I.
This be your true wish?
Louis, I have not loved you the way that you deserve.
And nor have I you the way you deserve. Very well. Then let us do this amicably.
Claude, it was at this point I could no longer take it. Bearing witness to my parents' marriage and its dissolution, I found myself through a dumbwaiter, down through our mansion. But those words you spoke as I stared up at you straight into your exposed buttocks stay with me, and I realized that I too had to make things right. Yours, Pierre.
You saw the whole thing? From Claude to Marie. My dearest love, I write this letter to you from my sitting room while you are only 6 feet away, behind that wall in your boudoir. I needed some time to recover from the last 7 hours. Ah, sweet love, how you have changed my life and reformed my soul. I have had a letter from Pierre. He tells me that he has found a resolution to his situation as well. It seems that he was outside in a ballroom, the open air ballroom. And there he was dancing alone. When suddenly my sister entered. According to his letter, the conversation unfolded thusly.
Janine, I'm sorry I missed the birth of our... How many was it that you said?
5, and then another one arrived.
So mathematics would make that 6.
Yes.
As they exchanged their poignant dialogue, they instinctively danced.
I see you've grabbed a basket.
There's a child in it.
Is that
Yes.
one of ours?
It is one of ours. I don't know which one. I've only named them 1 through 6. So I just speak to you to see if you would like to name them. Perhaps Bouton.
And it was then Pierre spoke his unalterable truth.
Janine, I'm a fool.
Yes.
I thought I needed to marry a woman of my station, that woman being Celeste. I thought down of you, a mere nurse. And that was wrong. I professed my love to you, and that was the truth of my heart.
You were in a delirium. Do you really mean that you truly love me, or was it the fever?
It was the fever of love. You're a nurse, so you tell me the diagnosis. I myself am merely not a man of scientific remedies, but a psychic. I